Welcome to Mental Flight, where bold ideas take off and untold truths soar beyond the limits of ordinary thinking. Then fasten your mind, you're cleared for takeoff when Tanzania announced its plans to construct a $300 million bridge connecting Dar es Salaam to the Kigamboni district. Many global financial observers doubted the country's ability to deliver such an ambitious project without heavy reliance on traditional lenders like the World Bank. The skepticism was rooted in the sheer scale, cost, and engineering demands of the bridge, which promised to be a transformative piece of infrastructure for the region. Yet in a bold move that stunned international critics, Tanzania pursued alternative funding and technical partnerships, sidestepping the usual dependency on multilateral lenders. The project, now a gleaming reality, has become both a symbol of national pride and a quiet embarrassment for the World Bank, which had underestimated Tanzania's capacity to execute it successfully. The bridge, stretching several kilometers across the water, has not only improved connectivity for thousands of daily commuters, but has also boosted trade, tourism, and investment in surrounding areas. Businesses in Dar es Salaam have seen faster delivery times and lower transportation costs, while residents enjoy reduced travel times from hours to mere minutes. The aesthetic beauty of the structure, with its sweeping lines and modern design, has made it an iconic landmark, drawing tourists and photographers from around the globe. What makes the story even more remarkable is the way Tanzania managed to finance and complete the bridge. Rather than taking on crippling debt or bending to stringent loan conditions often imposed by the World Bank and similar institutions, government worked with regional partners, secured private investments, and utilized local expertise to keep costs in check. This approach demonstrated that African nations could take control of their infrastructure destiny without falling into the familiar cycle of dependency. International media coverage, once filled with doubt, shifted to admiration as the project progressed ahead of schedule and within budget. For the World Bank, which had historically positioned itself as an indispensable player in African development, the success of the Tanzanian bridge was a humbling moment. It challenged the narrative that large-scale infrastructure in developing countries could only be achieved through the guidance and financial backing of global lending institutions. Tanzania's achievement has sparked conversations across the continent, inspiring other nations to reconsider how they approach major infrastructure projects and negotiate with international lenders. In the years since its completion, the bridge has become more than just a physical connection. It is a symbol of what can be accomplished through determination, strategic partnerships, and the belief that developing countries can set and achieve their own ambitious goals. This bold statement to the world has placed Tanzania on the map as a nation capable of delivering megaprojects on its own terms. Shifting the power dynamic in global infrastructure development, Tanzania's completion of the $300 million Kigamboni Bridge without relying on World Bank funding stands as a bold statement of national determination and financial independence. In a world where major infrastructure projects in developing nations often hinge on loans, grants, or conditional financing from global financial institutions, Tanzania chose a different path, one that asserted its sovereignty and showcased its ability to mobilize resources internally and through alternative partnerships. The Kigamboni Bridge, officially known as the Nyerere Bridge, is a 6-lane marvel stretching 680 meters across the Indian Ocean, connecting the bustling city of Dar es Salaam to the Kigamboni district. The project was not only about steel and concrete, but also about sending a message to the world that Tanzania would not be bound by the constraints or political pressures that sometimes accompany World Bank loans. The financing for the bridge was secured through domestic revenues and strategic collaborations with regional partners, avoiding the dependency that many African nations have faced when taking on large-scale projects. This choice was not without challenges, as it required meticulous planning, strict budget discipline, and the political will to prioritize national funds for infrastructure over other pressing demands. For years, Kigamboni's residents and visitors faced significant transportation bottlenecks, relying mainly on ferry services to cross between the district and the city center. The ferry system was slow, often overcrowded, and vulnerable to weather disruptions. The bridge transformed this dynamic entirely, reducing travel time to mere minutes, boosting the efficiency of daily commutes, and opening the door for accelerated economic development. The absence of World Bank funding meant that Tanzania retained full control over every phase of the project, from design to execution. This control allowed the government to ensure that the bridge served not just as a transportation link, but as a symbol of national pride. Without the restrictions or conditions that can be attached to international financings, such as policy changes, privatization demands a repayment term stretching decades into the future. Tanzania had the freedom to align the project with its own development vision. Construction began in 2012 under the leadership of then-President Jakaya Kikwete, with the government partnering with China Railway Construction Engineering Group and China Major Bridge Engineering Company for design and construction. The collaboration combined Tanzanian oversight with international engineering expertise, ensuring quality standards while keeping decision-making firmly in Tanzanian hands. The financing structure itself was groundbreaking, the government committing a significant portion of the budget directly from its treasury. This was supplemented by commercial loans negotiated on favorable terms that did not compromise the nation's economic sovereignty. The result was a project that was both ambitious and financially sustainable. Beyond its engineering achievements, the Kigamboni Bridge catalyzed urban expansion in Dar es Salaam. Land values in Kigamboni skyrocketed as the area became more accessible, attracting investors, developers, and businesses eager to tap into its potential. Tourism also received a boost as the bridge provided easy access to Kigamboni's pristine beaches and resorts, making it a more appealing destination for both domestic and international visitors. The bridge's completion without World Bank involvement also sparked conversations across Africa about the feasibility of self-funded megaprojects. For decades, the World Bank and similar institutions have been the default sources of large-scale development financing. Tanzania's example demonstrated that with careful financial management, political will, and strategic partnerships, nations could undertake significant projects without external dependency. Critics initially questioned whether Tanzania could handle the immense financial burden alone, warning of potential delays or compromises in quality. Yet the successful completion of the bridge silenced many of those doubts, proving that national capacity, when harnessed effectively, could rival or even surpass externally financed projects. The bridge's sleek design, modern tolling system, and high construction standards have made it a model for infrastructure in East Africa. The toll fees collected from vehicles crossing the bridge contribute to its maintenance and help offset the construction costs, further reinforcing the project's financial sustainability. Moreover, by keeping the project domestically driven, Tanzania avoided the pitfalls of external debt accumulation that have plagued many countries. Instead of being burdened with repayment obligations to international creditors, the nation invested in an asset that immediately began generating economic returns. The success of the Kigamboni Bridge has inspired other infrastructure initiatives in Tanzania to explore alternative financing models, emphasizing self-reliance and partnerships that do not compromise national interests. It has also strengthened public confidence in the government's ability to deliver on ambitious promises without relying on traditional aid structures. The completion of the Kigamboni Bridge brought a transformative wave of change to Dar es Salaam, with trade, tourism, and connectivity experiencing unprecedented growth. As Tanzania's largest city and economic hub, Dar es Salaam has long been a center for commerce and cultural exchange, yet its full potential had been constrained by logistical challenges, particularly in connecting the mainland city to the Kigamboni district. For decades, ferry services were the primary means of crossing, creating bottlenecks, delays, and inefficiencies that hampered both daily life and business operations. With the opening of the bridge, these barriers were removed, almost overnight, allowing people, goods, and services to move with a speed and reliability that had previously been unimaginable. In terms of trade, the bridge became an immediate catalyst for increased commercial activity. Dar es Salaam serves as a major port city for Tanzania and a gateway for landlocked countries like Zambia, Malawi, Burundi, and parts of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The improved connection to Kigamboni expanded the range of available routes for transporting goods, reducing traffic congestion in the central city and streamlining the movement of cargo to and from industrial areas. Businesses located in Kigamboni found themselves suddenly able to receive supplies and deliver products without the unpredictability of ferry schedules. Cutting down on operational delays and reducing transport costs, wholesale markets, small traders, and logistics companies all benefited from this enhanced efficiency, creating a ripple effect that boosted employment opportunities and stimulated economic growth. Tourism, too, saw a dramatic upswing following the bridge's inauguration. Kigamboni is home to some of Dar es Salaam's most pristine beaches, scenic landscapes, and emerging resorts. Yet many potential visitors were deterred by the cumbersome ferry crossing. With the bridge, access became seamless, allowing both domestic and international tourists to reach these destinations in minutes rather than hours. This ease of travel encouraged more frequent day trips, weekend getaways, and event hosting in the area, giving a direct boost to hotels, restaurants, and entertainment venues. The bridge also opened new investment opportunities in the hospitality sector, with developers more confident in building resorts, conference centers, and leisure facilities, knowing that access would no longer be a limiting factor. Connectivity. Improvements extended beyond just the physical ease of movement. The bridge integrated Kigamboni more fully into Dar es Salaam's economic and social fabric. Residential development in Kigamboni accelerated as the district transformed from a relatively isolated suburb into a vibrant extension of the city. Families and professionals seeking quieter neighborhoods with access to beaches and open spaces began relocating there. Confident they could commute easily to the city center for work or education, this migration helped ease overcrowding in other parts of Dar es Salaam while spreading economic activity more evenly across the metropolitan area. The social benefits of enhanced connectivity were equally significant. Communities on both sides of the bridge experienced greater interaction, with cultural, educational, and business exchanges increasing. Students found it easier to attend schools and universities in different parts of the city, while healthcare access improved as patients could reach hospitals without the delays caused by ferry queues. For local markets, the bridge brought a surge in customers from outside Kigamboni, injecting fresh revenue streams into small businesses and encouraging entrepreneurship. On a larger scale, the bridge strengthened Dar es Salaam's position as a regional trade and tourism hub. By reducing travel times and congestion, it improved the city's competitiveness in attracting both domestic and foreign investment. Companies evaluating locations for regional offices or distribution centers could now consider Kigamboni a viable and strategically connected option. This diversification of commercial spaces helped reduce strain on central Dar es Salaam while fostering balanced urban growth. The bridge's role in tourism promotion extended beyond leisure travel. It became an attraction in its own right, with its modern architectural design and panoramic views of the Indian Ocean drawing photographers, filmmakers, and visitors who simply wanted to experience driving or walking across the span. Local authorities and private event organizers capitalized on this appeal, hosting marathons, cultural festivals, and community events that utilized the bridge as a landmark backdrop. This not only showcased the bridge, but also reinforced its symbolic role as a unifying structure, linking communities and opportunities in the broader economic context. The enhanced connectivity created by the Kigamboni Bridge contributed to urban decongestion. By providing an alternative route, it alleviated pressure on Dar es Salaam's already overburdened road network, especially during peak hours. This improvement in traffic flow reduced vehicle operating costs, lowered fuel consumption, and cut travel-related stress for thousands of commuters each day. The time savings translated into higher productivity for businesses and more leisure time for residents, amplifying the bridge's quality of life benefits. Perhaps one of the most profound effects of this transformation was the sense of inclusion it fostered among Kigamboni's residents, once viewed as somewhat peripheral to the city's main economic engine. Kigamboni became fully integrated into Dar es Salaam's development narrative. This shift in perception encouraged more civic participation, strengthened local governance, and attracted greater public and private sector investment in infrastructure such as roads, schools, and utilities within the district. The combination of trade growth, tourism expansion, and enhanced connectivity also spurred innovation in the service sector. Logistics firms optimized routes to take advantage of the bridge. Tour operators expanded itineraries to include Kigamboni attractions. And digital platforms developed apps to help residents and visitors navigate the area more effectively. In this way, the bridge served as both a physical and an economic link, stimulating a wide range of secondary industries that built upon the improved infrastructure. The success of Tanzania's $300 million Kigamboni Bridge project has ignited a new wave of ambition and determination across the African continent, inspiring other nations to take bold steps toward pursuing large-scale infrastructure projects without depending heavily on external financial institutions. For decades, many African countries have relied on organizations like the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and foreign governments for loans and funding to develop critical infrastructure. While these funds have helped in certain cases, they often came with strict conditions, lengthy approval processes, and a degree of dependency that limited the freedom of nations to chart their own course. Tanzania's decision to fund and complete the Kigamboni Bridge independently challenged that narrative and proved that African nations are capable of mobilizing their own resources, gauging domestic and regional expertise, and executing transformative projects on their own terms. This development resonated deeply with governments, policymakers, and even citizens in neighboring countries. Saw the bridge not just as a physical structure, but as a powerful symbol of sovereignty, capability, and self-reliance. The ripple effects of this achievement have been felt far beyond Tanzania's borders. In East Africa, countries such as Kenya, Uganda, and Ethiopia have begun accelerating discussions about financing their own major projects without the heavy involvement of global lenders. Leaders have pointed to the Kigamboni Bridge as evidence that public-private partnerships, domestic bonds, and regional development banks can serve as viable alternatives to traditional Western financing models. This shift has sparked a broader conversation about the importance of keeping more of Africa's wealth and decision-making power within the continent, rather than exporting it through interest payments and external control. In West Africa, nations like Ghana and Nigeria have taken inspiration from Tanzania's approach by exploring new strategies for developing highways, energy plants, and port expansions through domestic capital markets and sovereign wealth funds. These governments have begun to view infrastructure not as a burden requiring foreign aid, but as an investment in their own economic futures that can be driven by local innovation and entrepreneurship. The symbolic power of the Kigamboni Bridge has also reached Southern Africa, where countries such as Zambia and Mozambique are actively assessing how they can harness local industries and resources to deliver infrastructure that matches or even exceeds global standards without compromising national control. This cultural shift is being reinforced by a growing sense of pride among African citizens, who see these achievements as a rejection of the old belief that large-scale development is impossible without outside intervention. People across the continent are increasingly aware that relying solely on foreign institutions often delays progress, limits negotiation power, and keeps countries locked in cycles of debt. Tanzania's independent success story has sparked discussions in parliaments, universities, and media outlets about the need for African nations to take greater ownership of their economic destinies. The Kigamboni Bridge stands as a case study in how strong leadership, strategic planning, and a clear vision can mobilize both public and private sectors toward a common goal, even in the absence of international lenders. With the right political will, countries can overcome financial constraints, execute world-class projects, and set an example for others to follow. This has opened the door for more collaboration between African nations themselves, as they share knowledge, resources, and expertise to help one another build infrastructure without relying on Western financing structures. Many experts believe that if this trend continues, The next decade could see Africa entering a new era of mega infrastructure development that is driven primarily by African capital, African labor, and African decision-making power. Tanzania's bridge has, in effect, become more than just a crossing over water. It has become a bridge to a future where African nations confidently take the lead in shaping their own development paths, setting bold examples for the world to witness. If you believe Africa should build its future on its own terms, hit that subscribe button right now and join a community that celebrates real stories of independence and progress. Just drop a like if you want to see more incredible African achievements, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters in shaping the conversation.